Well, hello. Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I am Steve Smith. I want to talk today about what I believe to be the most important preparedness and long-term survival. I should say long-term preparedness and long-term survival endeavor in which you can involve yourself. And I've never heard anybody else talk about this on the prepper channels. I'm not saying that somebody hasn't. I haven't heard it, though. I've mentioned it a couple of times. So I want to talk about it today. And most people aren't going to watch this because it's not about guns and bugging out and bug out bags and buying a bunch of more gear. It's about something far more important than that. I just put up, by the way, I'll let you know, here on Integrative Preparedness, I talk about what to do when it has all fallen apart. And that's what my books are about. How to prepare for it, how to survive it, how to live through it, and then how to rebuild. See, all a part of that. Now, surviving, if people who stop at surviving, they're seeing things short term. It's about rebuilding on the other side. If you don't have any intent to rebuild on the other side, just give it up. Essentially you're allowing your future to be dictated by others. And that's what I'm going to be talking about today. But what I was saying was that on Integrative Preparedness here, we talk about preparing for a collapse, surviving it, and then hopefully coming out the other side. On the other channel, American Reversion, we talk about how to try to keep that collapse from happening, at least politically. The two are separate. I see how it fits together. As a matter of fact, I come at it from kind of an integrated position, therefore integrated preparedness. But I know that a lot of people don't. Too many people think it's either one or the other. We have the camps that say it's all gone to hell. There's nothing that can be done. If you're still trying to fix things, you're part of the problem. Okay, well, all right, then you can listen to the preparedness stuff because you have already decided that nothing can be done and it can't be made better, not going to get better. And if that's what you've decided, I'm sure you're going to make sure that that's true for you. Your business, not mine, right? But on the other one, I just put up some information about some of the most sickening things that have happened in our country. Probably the real cause of its moral collapse. For those of you who do think that something might be able to be done to keep our country from a total collapse, please come join me on American Reversion, because that's where you belong. I'm not saying you don't belong here on Integrative Preparedness. I'm saying that that's where you belong, where we talk about what's going on politically, economically, all these kinds of things with the country with an eye toward dealing with them. Okay. Now, we might look at those things here on Integrated Preparedness, but we look at them more from how to prepare to survive them. Okay. So that's the difference. I know that I see it from both ways. I want to try to deal with it so that everybody in the world doesn't have to survive it, which means fighting against it. Some people don't feel that way. I get it. But if you are one of those who says, hey, we ought to fight against this stuff instead of just going and hiding, then you belong on American Reversion in addition to here. So I'm asking you right now, come join me over there, because not only will you hear a lot of things over there that you don't hear on this channel, you'll be able to contribute, because I know so many of you are very, very smart and you have a lot to contribute. And I'd love you to come over and contribute over on American Reversion. And it's kind of my secondary channel if everything, who knows what could happen with this one. Okay, so that's just your invite, your personal invite over there. What's the most important prep you can have? Is it long term? I'm not talking about for the next 3 days. I know, 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 weeks, all that. That stuff has been beaten to death. Okay. If anybody doesn't know that, this isn't the video that is going to address that. And I'm also going to probably get rid of a lot of subscribers here later on in this one. We'll see. Either they will do it or I will do it to them. The most important long-term prep you can have, the most important long-term prep you can have. So what do I mean? I don't mean for a year. I don't mean for 2 years. How many of you out there are struggling or doing everything you can? Because I read the comments and I compliment you on this. Everything you can to prepare. You're cutting corners, you're cutting back, you're doing away with discretionary spending, you're not going out to eat, you're doing all these things in order to prepare against hard times in the future. I commend you, I compliment you for doing that. But let me ask you, why do you have to do that? Now, I'm going to throw in a biblical reference here too. Okay. You remember Joseph, the 7 fat years and the 7 lean years, right? What did he do during he was told, it was God directed him. During the 7 fat years, put up your stores, right? Against what? Against the 7 lean years coming. What was he able to do as a result of following God's direction? He was able to save Egypt, wasn't he? But who else was he able to save? His family. Do you remember that his brothers came down to try to trade? They didn't know that he was in charge of things in Egypt. The brothers who had thrown him into a well, right? And then sold him into slavery. We'll get back to that. The most important, the reason that anybody is struggling right now, cutting corners to prepare against an uncertain future, is because they don't have the wealth to do it any other way. Okay, now you're going to say, what in the world does that have to do with what you're talking about? Because I'm going to tell you that the most important prep you can do for long-term preparedness and survival is intergenerational wealth. Okay, right now the hackles on so many necks stood up. Ugh, that sounds very elitist. It's not. Just like I say that preparedness is the ultimate in responsibility, intergenerational wealth building is the ultimate in preparedness. Most people aren't raised for that. Most people aren't raised to think that building a family, each step, that as one generation builds a foundation, and then the next generation is able to build on that, and then the next on that. Each generation able to not start at the bottom, but start on the foundation, and then the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step that their previous generations built for them as a starting point. They are able to provide more for their next generations. As a result, you have intergenerational wealth that would, if for the families who have done that, those people are out there able to prepare and get the things they need Like that. But you know what? Most families aren't like that. Most generations aren't like that. And most people look down. They don't look down on them really, but I call it well, I won't say what I call it. There is a certain bigotry against people that others think are affluent. There's a certain jealousy. There's this idea that, well, they didn't get it on their own. That's not true. Did you know that most people, I won't even use the term millionaire. I'll say affluent. Did you know that most affluent people made it on their own? They didn't have help from their parents. They didn't inherit it. They didn't win the lotto. They built wealth as a result of good decisions. Constant good decisions. One good decision after another good decision after another good decision. They used their money instead of spending it. Right? They invested money instead of spending it. What's the difference between spending and investing? Spending money, you get something and it's gone. You buy something that usually depreciates, which means it's worth less. Investing is buying something, spending your money on something that increases in value. It appreciates. It becomes more valuable. 10 years from after you bought it, it's worth more, not less. A house as opposed to a car. Okay? Land as opposed to, drinking every Friday night. Those kinds of things. We have a couple of customers for one of our businesses who went out and bought farms after reading my books. What? You say? How can that be? Yeah, they read my books. Where's the fifth one? The fifth one is, I see, the reversion's not up there. There's a fifth one up there. After reading my series of books, these people who are they've become friends of ours, each of them, they went out, and they live in the suburbs, okay? They went out and bought farms. Not 5 acres, not 10 acres. 40, I forget how big they are, 40 or 80 acres with nice houses, with barns, developing. Just because they read my book and says, I want a place to go. First off, for recreation, but now I want a place to go in case this happens. What happened in Steve's books? Now, they invested in them. Now they have a place to go, and they enjoy going out there on weekends and messing around. And one of them is actually finding a way, because this is the way they think. Now they are making money off of their land. Not only do they have a second home there, but they have refurbished the big barn, and they're creating an event space for it. And if you know anything about event spaces, they make gobs of money, and they're bringing in catering, and they're making money off the money that they spent. That's investment. Do you know why they were able to do that? Because they built family wealth. Now here again, I know that a lot of the people out there, and I'm losing people every second here. I know I'm losing people. Good. Those people don't really want to prepare. You know what they want to do? They are preparedness tourists. They want to watch a video about, oh my gosh, if it all falls apart, how do I run out into the woods and build a lean-to? Right? And then find a can somewhere, or get into my bug-out bag and somehow hide and cook up my can of beans and boil my water and survive. Until when? How long do you do that? See, so I've just lost all those people. I've lost all of the people, which is probably 90% of the people who started watching this, because I was getting dangerously close to saying that long-term preparedness and survival requires work, thought, and investment on your part. Now, there are people out there who have made some good decisions. There's some other channels on here who have made good decisions. If you watch them, you know who I'm talking about. Okay? They live on family farms, or they have bought property. They have invested. And I know that those people are also involved in creating intergenerational wealth. Because at this point, all the people who would like to move or buy someplace and can't, they didn't plan for it. They didn't plan for it. They were the kind, too often, and I'm not targeting any individual. So if this doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. I don't mean it to you. But I know too many people, and so have you in your life, that have said, I ain't giving my kids nothing. My dad didn't give me nothing, and I'm going to make my kid work for it like I did. Just because. And just because it's good for them. Bullshit. Excuse my language. They don't do it because it's good for them. They do it because they're so angry that their father didn't give them anything, or didn't give them a leg up, or didn't give, because it's not just it's not just passing on some money and some property. It's all the years that you're raising those kids, that you're talking to them about the importance of investing rather than spending, making your money work for you rather than the other way around, making good, responsible decisions, saving for a rainy day, okay? All those things, all those personal responsibilities that end up resulting in family security. Now, for the 3 people that are still here watching, congratulations. You're probably the ones that don't even need to hear this, because you already know, you already do it. But this is the one thing, and people will say all the excuses, and I'm going to tell anybody who's still here for the wrong reason. I'm going to tell you in a minute something for you. People will say, well, what's the good of that? The government's just going to take it all in taxes. Well, how do you know that? Have you ever been in that position? No, you haven't. That's why you say that. You haven't been there. That's the kind of idiotic thought process that comes up with this. Well, I don't want to work much overtime, because if I work overtime, I make less money, not more. No, you don't, you idiot. You have never sat down and figured it out. You believed what some other moron said. And then you repeat it, and you're going to make some other young kid believe that. And that's crap. Let me say a word to those who cannot do this. Do you know why you cannot do this? Because you won't. Unless you are laying in a bed in a coma, you can get started. Well, I don't have, life's been tough, life's been unfair to me, you don't know my situation, I've got this and I've got that, and I didn't have this and I didn't have that. Shut up. If you're breathing and your brain is functioning, you can think, can't you? You can think. And it all starts with thinking. And then it starts with planning. And then it starts with good decisions. Good decisions. Not, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try this. And continuing down a path that results in and guarantees continued failure. Because if an idea doesn't work, you better jump off and find another idea. So for every person that's out there that say, you don't know, you're sitting around in your big house and you don't have, you have no idea. About how hard we worked. No idea. If you don't want to do it. If you would rather cling to the security and comfort of your excuses, there's nothing I can do for you. There's nothing anyone can do for you. Is that the place you want to stay in your life? As a preparedness-minded individual, which if you're watching this channel, you either are or you claim to be. Why in the world would you want to leave your life and your security up to other people and the whims of the world? That's what preparedness is all about, being in charge of your own life, your own future. So if you make any excuse, I'm going to say right here, if I see one excuse, you're gone. You are gone. Now, if you're having a bad time, I'm sorry, and I hope things work out. And if you'll listen to me, it'll be the first step on that road. But if I hear one excuse in a comment, I did this, and hey, you know, I see the hidden excuses too. I'm working as hard as I can. I'm working. Yeah. Hey, that is not that is not an assertive, positive attitude. I'm going to remove the comment and I'm going to ban you. Because you know what? Now, I'm not talking to most of you. I'm talking to that person. That person wants to bring other people down. First off, they want to be patted on their little head. They want to be patted and said, "Oh, you poor thing. Oh, I know exactly what you mean. I had that same problem." And then they commiserate and they create this huge furry ball of negativity. I'll just put it that way. I had a different term in mind. Negativity. I have no patience with that. And that's not what preparedness is about. It's not what this channel's about. And if that's what anybody's about, they don't belong here. They belong on one of those places where everybody can complain to each other. I'm sure there's plenty of places out there like that. Not here. Intergenerational wealth. How do you do it? You work for yourself. You start your own business. I don't know how to start a business. Okay, you're gone. I don't care. What can you do? I've said before, I can't walk downstairs in the morning without thinking of a new way to make money. I don't claim to be smarter than you. Why can't you? Why can't you think of some? Are there things you could do that people could pay you for? Go do it. Go do it. And then teach your kids to do it. Teach your kids how to think about business. I started teaching my kids how to think about business when they were very, very, very small. Had to do with allowance. Had to do about, look, here's what mom and dad do for their businesses. Here's how you start a company. Here's how you start a business. Do you start a big one all of a sudden? No, you start it in little bitty steps and you keep taking those steps. You keep taking the steps. You take the steps when you're tired. You take the steps when you're sick. You take the steps when things don't seem like they're going as fast as you want them to. You keep taking the steps. And you keep building. And then, one day, when you say, look at this. I actually can have an effect on my world. If I don't like what's going on around here, I can move somewhere else. Or I don't have to rely on that part of the system. I can be the master of my fate, the captain. The second part I don't like, that captain of my soul, that's God. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. Start being smart if you're not already. And I know a lot of you out there have probably been nodding this whole time. That's right, that's right, that's right, that's right. And from you all, I would love for you to put your comments down here. for the further education and edification of the others who might read them. So that they're not just saying, well, that guy, he's really a meanie. That mean guy on YouTube, he thinks he knows it all. He sits there on his leather couch and tells me what I ought to be doing. Well, I'll tell you what, buddy. I'm not saying that I'm doing better than you, but if I am, which one of us should listen to the other one? Okay? So for you all who know exactly what I'm talking about and you do it too, leave your comments. Help these other people. Because you folks making excuses, when it does go down, you're either going to be dead or you're going to be a slave to somebody else. I'm going to be talking about slavery here maybe in the next week. I don't know when. I'm writing about it right now in the latest book. But that's the most important thing you can do for long term, and that is to create wealth and create intergenerational wealth. So I'll be interested to see how many comments I get. I can pretty much tell. I know the ones I'm going to get the positive ones from. The great thinkers, the ones who are on here, who think and know exactly what you're going to be able to tell great stories. And we want to hear those. And then, like I say, I know I'm going to see a couple of those. It'll be the last time I see you. You all have a great day. I know this has been tough. It's been straight. But it's been true. It's the truth. It's the truth that a lot of people need to hear. And remember, we prepare well today. Why? In order to survive tomorrow? No. In order to live well tomorrow. Y'all have a good day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.